Ian McEwan wrote Atonement, one of the most successful books of the last 50 years. He also won the Booker Prize for his novel Amsterdam, and on Thursday, his next novel Lessons will be released. No one is questioning that Ian McEwan is talented, but is Lessons any good? Do you know those books where you read something really interesting, but the book doesn't explore it adequately and it moves on to other issues? It's like testicles at a drag show. You know they're there, the artist knows they're there, but nobody is explaining to me where they're hidden. 14-year-old Roland is seduced by his 25-year-old piano teacher. You realise that's the most interesting thing about Lessons. I realise that's the most interesting thing about Lessons. Ian McEwan even realises it's the most interesting thing about Lessons, hence the name. And it is the most interesting thing about Lessons. But Ian spends a lot of time on leaflet dropping for the Labour Party, and I just wanted to scream, Ian, where are you hiding your testicles? Sorry, that metaphor may not work, and it may make me look slightly unhinged. And at this point, I may be in danger of being known as the book guy who won't stop mentioning testicles. Lessons is the life story of Roland and his relationship with 3 women. The piano teacher who seduces him, the mother of his child, and the woman he loves. It takes place over 70 years, and it starts in the post-World War II era and finishes during the COVID pandemic. If that statement were true, it would be a much better novel. But McEwan is interested in this sliding doors sort of narrative. He's started it up using quantum mechanics many words principles, but in a previous life I have a degree in physics and I can tell you that the Gwyneth Paltrow movie is all you need to understand. McEwan thought he was giving you Niels Bohr and Stephen Hawking, but next summer he'll be co-starring with Jack Black and launching Goop. Because that's what this world really needs. A candle that is scented with Ian McEwan's testicles. McEwan is obsessed with this idea of politics, Cuban Missile Crisis, the Chernobyl disaster, Brexit, weapons of mass destruction, Tony Blair, and if I look at the synopsis, this is all meant to have an effect on Roland. How do world events impact the individual? How do they change Roland? But at no point do I see what the alternative is, except that he might at some point have a slightly better posture. This is what McEwan wanted to write about, but it adds nothing. It's boring, and it takes away pages from what is interesting, Roland's relationship with 3 women. And let's go back to the piano teacher. The book includes a sexual relationship between Roland and his piano teacher, but let's call it what it is, sexual assault. But that's not how it's presented. Roland willingly visits Miss Cornell. Miss Cornell doesn't pursue other students. She even plans for a life together in Scotland. She's not a pedo. She's really just in love with a child. Ugh. Later, there is an investigation into historical sexual assault. Roland visits Miss Cornell and uses this to blackmail her into some sort of emotional disclosure. Roland, you're the only man I loved. You and your chocolate testicles. And actually, that's a theme in this book. Women truly love Roland and his chocolate testicles, and for no reason that I can see. And then they abandon him. But that's a side note, and let's get back to the sexual assault quickly before it goes cold. I don't think that Ian McEwan is a pro-sex with child advocate. Roland doesn't believe that the relationship was a bad thing, and McEwan is showing you that it did change him. He is addicted to sex, but it feels out of balance. If there's no meaningful discussion around sexual assault, why couldn't Roland have had a relationship with someone his own age? Well, it's because Roland craves for a mother figure in his life. And you can see what's wrong with this novel just there. McEwan is dictating the plot and not his characters. Why did Miss Cornell abuse Roland? We don't know her motivations. We're left with the book saying she loved him, and frankly, that's both gross and lazy. McEwan has considered things from Roland's point of view, but these women he's in a relationship with, they're not well built, they're not considered, their actions are so logical. They don't do anything because it feels good because they need something. They're just flesh robots. No wonder Ian McEwan isn't explaining where their testicles are. He's not even crafted them. He doesn't know his women well enough to explore the relationship. Ian, what causes them joy? What causes them sorrow? Communicate it. I know you can do that. McEwan includes a healthy dose of sex. Roland is addicted to sex and must have it every day. After losing his virginity, he ponders how adults get things done when you can just do that. Good question. Yes, it's part of everyday life. Yes, people enjoy it. But Ian, if you're going to write it, write it. I once had sex standing up or on a beach or with my testicles is not writing it. But also, McEwan includes too much detail to make it a fade to black sex scene. And this makes it almost come across as boastful, and it's really a problem because the whole sexual assault thing, it's not a woman using her power to take advantage of a boy. It's a boy who brags about getting to fuck the hot teacher. I'm sure that's what Roland thinks. He's 14 and getting a shag. But what is it really? I don't know. I haven't been shown it. While we're being a bit PC here, why did we need to have a character suddenly become a TERF? I get it. She's out of touch. She's ignorant. But she didn't even say anything too TERFy. McEwan didn't want the comment to be the thing you took away. He's come up with the most benign TERFy thing to say. Why? Is it a comment on the trans issue? Is it a comment on cancel culture? I don't think it's either of them. But you know what it is? Completely unnecessary. Yes, I know that it's saying she's no longer in touch with society and that she's not as relevant as she used to be, that she belongs to another age, that she is an anachronism, and by extension, so too is Roland. But you know what? So too is this novel. It is such a 90s novel, and maybe it would have even been good if it was published in the 90s. Now, I just want to clarify, I'm not saying that Ian McEwan is a TERF or in favour of paedophilia or Prince Andrew. I'm saying his desire not to judge means he doesn't communicate or condemn. And his desire for balance paints both sides as reasonable. I think that's bad. It's bad writing and it's just a bad message to have. And even the things about this novel that are good are poorly done. I really enjoyed Atonement, but I wonder, is this the novel of an aging great who knows what is required to write a balanced novel, but no longer has an adequate feel on society to execute it? There is too much in here, but not enough details. I give this book 2 stars. Try one of his backlist novels instead. Bye bye.